Welcome to this explainer. Let's take a slow, deep breath and step way back in time to the early 1800s. We're going to look at the story of a single, brilliant mechanism that completely altered the fabric of human history. Literally.
So what if every piece of clothing you're wearing right now took days to make by hand? Just imagine the sheer exhaustion of a world where making clothes for massive populations was incredibly slow, really expensive, and done entirely with just needles and thread. Professional tailors, everyday seamstresses, they were spending countless hours meticulously stitching garments. It was a painstaking, back-breaking process that simply couldn't keep up with a growing world.
Let's calmly compare these two realities to really understand the desperate need for a solution in the rapidly industrializing 19th century. On one side, you've got the hand-sewn era. Making a single shirt here could consume days. It was physically exhausting and highly expensive. Then, on the other side, the mechanical era. Fast, affordable, incredibly efficient. Bridging that massive gap between these two eras, well, that took one monumental leap in innovation.
Section 1. A World Sewn by Hand. The Origins of Elias Howe.
Elias Howe was born into a farming family in Massachusetts, right on the cusp of America's rapid industrialization. While he worked the soil, his mind was totally fascinated by the gears and levers of the modernizing world around him. Leaving the farm at just 16 in 1835, he moved to Lowell, and it was here he found his true calling, working in textile mills and machine shops. He actually discovered this natural, almost instinctual affinity for machinery that would eventually empower him to change history.
Section 2. Inventing the Lockstitch, engineering a solution.
You see, Howe firmly believed there had to be a better way to sew than by hand. Despite having very little money and facing constant skepticism from friends who honestly thought he was completely wasting his time, he refused to give up. He spent years methodically studying mechanics. Let's slowly examine his brilliant 1845 breakthrough, the Lockstitch. Many inventors had tried to build a practical sewing machine before him, but they all failed to create a strong, consistent stitch. Howe solved this by passing thread through the eye of a needle located near its point, and then locking it with a second thread below the fabric.
Let's break down exactly how this elegantly simple machine works. Step 1. The needle passes the first thread down through the fabric. Step 2. A shuttle beneath the fabric carries a second thread. And Step 3. The two threads lock together into a perfectly durable seam. It's an elegant, rhythmic, and incredibly effective solution. Section 3. The Great Patent Battles. Poverty, Theft, and Justice.
Howe earned his U.S. patent for this beautiful mechanism in 1846. But getting that piece of paper was just the start of a grueling uphill battle. The machine worked beautifully, sure, but convincing people to actually buy it was a whole different story. Workers were terrified of massive job losses. Manufacturers hesitated to invest in totally unfamiliar tech. He even faced financial ruin, embarking on a desperate business venture to England to find investors, which sadly completely failed. Returning home from that failed trip to England in absolute poverty, he discovered that several companies, including one run by the famous Isaac Singer, were boldly stealing his design and manufacturing machines based on his patent. No way was he letting that slide. Instead of walking away, Howe filed lawsuits. It was a really slow, exhausting legal battle, but eventually the courts ruled in Howe's favor. This forced manufacturers to pay him royalties and firmly established the importance of intellectual property rights in America.
Section 4. An Industry Revolutionized. The Global Impact.
With his rights finally secured, Howe became one of America's wealthiest inventors almost overnight. But far more importantly, his machine was rapidly transforming global manufacturing as we know it. It didn't just revolutionize factory production by making it faster and way lower in cost. It fundamentally transformed home life, making clothing creation and repair highly accessible for everyday families. It even supplied the American Civil War effort with unprecedented efficiency, allowing for the rapid, mechanized production of uniforms and vital military supplies.
Millions. By the 1860s, a staggering millions of sewing machines were operating in homes and factories across America and Europe. Every single one of those machines was a quiet testament to Elias Howe's absolute perseverance in the face of poverty, doubt, and corporate theft.
Section 5. Elias Howe's lasting legacy, a stitch in time. Elias Howe passed away in 1867,
at just 48 years old. Though his life was relatively short, his mechanical genius permanently changed the textile and fashion industries. He helped fuel the Industrial Revolution by making clothing production affordable and accessible. And incredibly, even though later inventors improved upon the outer design, nearly every single modern sewing machine today still relies on Howe's foundational Lockstitch principle. His invention remains the literal thread holding today's global fashion industry together.
We leave you with his final, inspiring thought drawn from his long journey. Perseverance, innovation, and patience can turn even the simplest idea into a world-changing achievement. Howe proved that despite poverty, failure, and years of legal challenges, a person who never stops believing in their invention can indeed transform an entire industry.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a calm moment and ask yourself, if one patiently executed idea can transform the entire world, what everyday problem around you is waiting for a resilient solution? Think about the processes in your own life that seem slow, exhausting, or overly complicated, much like hand sewing in the 1800s. What is just waiting for your own persistent innovation? Thanks for exploring this remarkable journey of patience and determination with us today.